inside the last 20 seconds. Back in the middle, Johnson tries to tap it to Atkins. He succeeds. Back to Primus. Wouldn't it be nice if they could finish with a goal? To the half-forward line, Richmond defence. Well, they're misers. They have other ideas. And Jamie Tate says, no way, Jose. And he kicks towards centre wing and Richardson. There's the siren as Richardson lets it go into the stands. The end has come in Melbourne for Fitzroy. Well, we'll listen to the Richmond theme song, but it is the Fitzroy flags that are flying as they say farewell. And isn't that nice to see all the players gathering in the centre of the MCG? They all know what it's about. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some form of presentation, as a cordon has quickly been rung up around these players. It's quite emotional scenes, really, to see opposition players hugging each other. It's Marty Warry chatting with young David Burke. But Richmond, of course, must look towards winning next week. And Fitzroy have one more journey to make.
Shani, I just can't help but feel so long Fitzroy, thanks for the memories. And I guess that's all we've got now, the Fitzroy Football Club. And you know, those young fellas out there today, they've done it tough for the last 10 weeks or so, knowing that their football club was finishing.
Let's go down to, sorry Malcolm, the ground now. Fly, who have you got with you?
I've got Matthew Richardson, Sandy. Bit of the yips early in that first quarter, mate. What happened in those kicking for goal?
Well, I actually had a fair few shots at goal through the week and I kicked badly and I started off like that today, so started to straighten it out towards the end, I suppose.
Was there a bit of a reluctance to have a shot for goal because you'd missed a few, you wanted to give a few off?
Yeah, I was sitting a bit nervous, so I thought I'd better try and pass them off so the boys could make sure of them.
What did Robert Wall say before the game? You knew that Fitzroy would be pumped up with emotion?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, obviously they are their former players and that down, so we just wanted to make sure we got the 4 points. Our theme before the game was to get some confidence and form going into North next week and hopefully take on Brisbane in the final if we can win.
Did Walls mention before the game about Fitzroy's last game? Was that a point in the pre-match address at all?
Yeah, it was to a certain extent. You know, it's been pumped up in the press through the week, so all the players had that on their mind. But we knew if we just did what we did last week against Geelong, we could get the 4 points today.
So it must be very good for the confidence, beating Geelong or kicking their butts last week, but also today, whipping Fitzroy going to next week's game against North.
Yeah, well, that's what we were aiming to do. We had a good win last week, continued it on today, and got to beat North now next week.
How do you feel about your own form?
Yeah, it's been up and down, I suppose, this year, so I was glad to get a few touches today.
You kicked 7, about 20 marks. Congratulations, sensational effort. Well done.
Thanks, Russell.
These are great scenes here with Fitzroy getting a standing ovation from Richmond supporters who have joined in the Fitzroy theme song. And you can't help but be moved by what is taking place at the moment.
Yes, particularly when you think some of the battles, Ross, over the years that we've had against Fitzroy. They had their good times, they've had a lot of tough times, and it's taken 100 years for them to finally succumb to the pressures, I suppose, of the modern football as we know it in the AFL.
Been great respect paid to them too by everyone here, which is just outstanding. As Sandy mentioned, the last 5 minutes, it appeared as if no one left, and rightly so, they've stayed here just to make sure they pay their last respects as such. And it was also great to see the Richmond players applaud the Fitzroy group as they ran past, as well as the Richmond match committee and respective people. They've got to be careful here now.
They're going to lose control here now because a couple have started running onto the ground now, a couple of hundred have, and Richmond on this side of the ground have decided, that's it boys, we've done our bit, let's get off, we've got a game next week. And there are hundreds of fans streaming towards these Fitzroy players, and this is where things can get rather dangerous.
Yeah, I'm not so... It can, Sandy, I agree with that, but I'm not certain that...
it will.
Yes, the motion of the day. Yeah. And I mean, they're their heroes today. They're the Fitzroy players of today, and I don't think anyone in their right mind would do anything to touch them.
No, you'd hope.
And I think it's just fitting tribute for a club. I mean, it's sorry, isn't it? You just think of 100 years. It's just walked past our door. And they've got to go to Fremantle next week, and there was a fair argument for them to play this last game in Melbourne. I thought they may have done it. It wasn't to be. So this is the way the Melbourne fans that have followed Fitzroy. And I guess a lot of other people. 50,000 people, a lot of Tiger supporters here, but there was a lot of noise for Fitzroy. And I must admit, it is a sad day in footy, and unfortunately we had those changes. That's well on the way now. And history, 100 years of it, hopefully hasn't walked out the door. Hopefully we can all tell our grandkids and pass on the memories of the great warriors from Fitzroy.
Yes, 113 years, in fact, they've survived, but what a tough run they've had of late, losing 34 out of 35 games. And now thousands of fans have gathered around the team who are slowly but surely leaving the MCG for the final time. The final scoreline here then on Fitzroy's final game at the MCG. They were belted out of the park. So long, to the tune of 28 goals.